an exciting start, but I think we should really kick off this show talking about the unbelievable run of RCB and Virat Kohli. And even as I say that, Prem, we'll discuss some stats, but I really want to say that they've really done a Phil Jackson. If you've read that book of Sacred Hoops, they've taken the attention really away from Virat Kohli uh, and really made this about their bowling. So I'd let you do the honors.
Yeah, actually, RCB, the 17 previous seasons, it was like a high performance car, a BMW, one of the latest models, in Bangalore traffic. Looks very nice, but not going anywhere. This year, it's like, when the PM comes to town and all the roads are cleared and all that, and the traffic is just flowing smoothly. Now it looks good. It's also driving very smoothly. And you're right. I mean, one of the things that is most remarkable about this, besides the fact that, I mean, we'll get to the bowling in a bit, but the fact that Virat Kohli has finally shed that thing in his head that he has to bat till the 20th over. He's now looking to play his shots every chance he gets. And that combination with Jacob Bethel. See, one of the things about all the high performance teams in this IPL is that they are front loading the batting. It's the top three, top four that are really driving their chances as far as the batting is concerned. And RCB is finally caught on to it. If you remember, they used to play this game of taking it easy in the beginning, and then Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers in the middle were supposed to, explode.
Correct.
But one of the big trends this season is almost all the good teams are now looking at open big, have your top two, top three, really put the firepower in the batting. So yeah, Bethel and VK. We'll get to the numbers in a bit, but from the point of view of the fact that we are now reaching the knockout stages, we're closing on the knockout stages, and RCB will almost certainly make it unless something dramatic happens. I think the one thing that RCB still needs to get right is they need Devdutt Padikkal, Rajat Patidar, and Jitesh Sharma to come good. They're not
Yes.
contributing consistently. So once the opening is gone, there is a bit of a shaky thing before somebody like, Tim David or Romario Shepherd come in and provide that finishing kick. They need that middle to solidify, but otherwise, it looks like a team that can go the distance.
Yeah, and strange that you say that because Patidar and Krunal Pandya actually have won two Man of the Match awards each in this, which is why I was talking about
Yeah,
taking the attention away from Virat Kohli, and the whole burden is not on him. This has finally become like what the Indian team is, where there's no pressure that it's Kohli who's got to do it all. The burden that Sachin lived with for many years. And that's what makes it interesting. I think Jitesh is a little bit of that weakling. He's not really been in the mix, and I think with what happened yesterday, that 50 that we got was
yeah,
unbelievable. So that's given them the solidification that they need in that lower middle order to make sure that if things go really bad, they've got somebody who
yeah,
can make it happen over there. And Tim David has to come good also. He's been
yeah,
threatening too. He's done one or two games, but he's still there. But Prem, having spoken of that, cannot dismiss the fact that Kohli is now sitting there pretty with the orange cap, crossed 500 runs. And I was just going through his stats yesterday, and I also asked, Rajneesh what he thought was happening with RCB. Was he surprised? And he said that even though the sixes from Kohli are less, even if you take the top five, he's got the least number of sixes in this season. But the fact is that the sixes and fours combined with the unbelievable running between the wickets that Kohli
yeah,
brings to this T20 format is unbelievable and remarkable. I think there is no one fitter than him and nobody who understands the art of running between the wickets better than him. In fact, Mohammad Kaif did an amazing thing. Virat Kohli actually ran 4 runs in one of those matches, I think,
yeah, yeah,
a recent game. And Kaif was explaining how he changes the bat effortlessly from one hand to the other so that his eyes are always on the fielder. He's never blindsided at any point of time. And it was like a masterclass from Kef. And it was just the pure genius of Kohli that sometimes, in a frustration that he's not doing what he should be doing with the red ball, we miss.
Yeah, and it's funny. I remember that Kaif episode, and I remember thinking, cricket has evolved in so many different ways, right? But sometimes the things that we used to take for granted or that were basics, even in schoolboy cricket, has fallen by the wayside. So when somebody actually does it, we're like, wow, this is great. And this business of changing hands is one of the, you look at the old time players, right? I mean, from the Pataudi era through the
Yeah.
Gavaskar era, all of that, this was taken for granted. This used to be taught to us in school, that you're constantly looking at the ball. So if the ball is, I mean, you're a right hand batsman, you're taking your first run and you played the ball onto the onside, you are holding the bat, and as you're about to take the single, you're using the right hand to touch down so that your face is turned towards the onside and you know exactly what's going on. And then when you get to the other end, you're changing your hands again. And this used to be drilled into us. Now it's like it's only a Kohli and very few people like that. Another guy who does that very well, by the way, is Nitish Kumar Reddy, who runs very
Yeah.
fast, is also very good at changing hands to keep an eye on where the ball is going. But yeah, some of these techniques, I used to think this when Rahul Dravid used to bat, the back foot defense, where you go
Hmm.
up on your toes, push the ball down. It is a second stroke that
Yes.
is taught schoolboy players, first the forward defense, then the back foot defense. But in Dravid's era, he was the only one who was playing it. Anyway, that aside,
That's so true.
getting
Yeah.
yeah,
But what do you think is because I was checking his strike rate and his strike rate is still in the 130s, 125s. He's not gone berserk where he's got a 160, 170. But is there anything about his game that you've seen that he's kind of worked on? I mean, of course, running between the wickets was there. He's improving his six hitting abilities. But has there been anything else that you've spotted which you think has really improved?
no, I think it goes back to something that you said in the beginning, that earlier it used to be the entire burden used to be on Virat. So what used to happen is he'll come and he'll get a ball that he can hit, he'll play that shot. But then if the ball is not in the slot, he see, if you take singles, your problem is you're going at 100 strike rate. And that's what he used to do. Singles, twos, the occasional dot balls and all that. I know that his percentage of fours and sixes is not the leading in the rankings right now, but he's doing much better. And what is interesting is the fact that he's coming in as an opener and he has somebody like Bethel at the other end. So when
Yeah.
combined, what they're doing is they're getting RCB off to a good start, which is taking a lot of the pressure off. So it's not like, I don't think he's changed his game. I think he's playing with a slightly better sense of freedom than he used to. He's not when he's playing the first over, he's not thinking I have to bat till the 19th and 20th overs. He's
Yeah.
playing what ball he is getting at that particular point in time. If he can hit it, he'll hit it. If he can work it around, he'll work it around. But he's not worrying about taking the game deep and all of that nonsense. And I think that's
Yeah.
I mean, it seems such an obvious thing to do, but it is a fundamental shift in thinking and it's hugely important.
Yeah. He's getting to like a 50-60% of what Rohit Sharma is doing, where he said he's going to get the
Yeah.
momentum up. And that's why Mumbai Indians is doing so well. Uh,
Yeah.
but there was one thing that I've noticed, Prem. I don't know if you noticed that. And, we've seen various memes on YouTube and Insta about Virat Kohli getting pumped up and saying that another bowler bowled and another fielder took the catch, but it was Virat Kohli who's screaming and, abusing the opposition and getting all crazy.
Yeah.
But yesterday, did you see after that phenomenal over uh, that was bowled, uh, everyone was excited in the RCB team. And there you saw Virat Kohli walking in from the boundary, absolutely calm, composed,
Yeah.
came, hugged the bowler, and said, well bowled. But there was none of that dramatic, unnecessary screaming and, you know, That was something that really surprised me. I think he's working a bit on that because I've never seen him do that. That too for a game that was so close, and it was really the Southern Derby for the IPL.
I wonder if it's really a sign of, you know, as a player, he knows that, okay, he is nowhere close to being finished. Like you said, he is the fittest player, not just in the Indian team, but
Without
in
doubt,
international cricket, he would be one of the fittest players going. His game is
easily.
still on song. Yeah, his game is still on song. You can see that from the orange cap that he's wearing so proudly. He's just taken it back from Sai Sudarshan, by the way. So you have both
Yeah,
ends of the spectrum. Uh, but I think the likely is the realization that he doesn't have as much of his career left as he's already put behind him, and that brings, as you
yeah,
as you realize that you are now the elder figure in the team and all that. I guess it brings a certain calmness, a certain sense of maturity. He's shedding that Delhi ka Munda thing, and now being more of the senior figure, like you said, calm, cool. He does lose it on occasion, but those occasions are fewer and far between now.
that's true. That's true. And yeah, in fact, what surprised me even more was the fact that throughout the game, not just that last ball, but throughout the game, his celebrations were very limited. And in fact, I saw an interview of his when they were building up the whole Southern Derby, the Chennai
Mm.
Super Kings versus the RCB game, and he said that yeah, I'm looking forward to it because this could possibly be the last time that we are playing against each other. And he meant him and Dhoni. So there was
Yeah,
a sign. I don't know if he knew that Dhoni was going to call it quits, or if I mean, I don't see Kohli quitting playing IPL, but there was something there he knew, which he mentioned when he said that this is the probably the last time that we're playing together. So
yeah.
that was an
And,
interesting one. But
to be fair, Faisal, if Dhoni plays another season, it'll be fairly ludicrous. I think. I mean, I think he left his exit the year 2 years ago when they won against the odds. That was a great time for him to have quit. He missed the bus on that one. He thought he could do well again the next season. That didn't work. But this one has been disastrous. It's totally. In fact, surprisingly, this time he has actually taken the blame for the defeat against RCB. If you look at his post-match comments,
yeah,
he said, "Yeah, I am to
I heard
blame."
that one. Yes.
So yeah, so finally we are getting to that point where he too is, coming to the conclusion that. So yeah, I would think this is. I don't think he'll retire in the middle of this IPL or even at the end, but probably before the next season.
Yeah, probably become a coach or become a mentor or something like that
Or
with the
yeah,
team, which would be interesting. Yeah, but Prem, I
yeah,
think we cannot conclude the RCB discussion without mentioning how they've really and how Andy Flower and the support staff have really focused and built up their bowling, and that's really where they've made the difference. Other than Kohli's amazing form, I mean, if you look at some of the numbers, which you just can't ignore, that. Their contribute the wickets that they've taken, most wickets taken in power plays RCB, best economy rate RCB, best bowling average in the power plays RCB. I mean, when was the last time we heard RCB excelling in all these three? That's
yeah.
phenomenal, and I think Hazelwood would take a huge bow, for that because his economy of 7.22 is the best for any pacer in power play this year. He's been phenomenal for the RCB.
Yeah, RCB has done. I mean, they got their bowling down. And what is interesting is the last couple of games where Hazelwood hasn't been able to play because of some fever or whatever it is. There are other bowlers who are able to step in. And one name that really stands out for me, Yash Dayal, because if you
Oh
remember,
yeah,
he's
of
the guy
course.
who got. Remember, he got whacked for those four sixes on the
Five
trot.
sixes, five sixes, five
Yeah,
sixes
five
by
sixes.
Rinku
Sorry.
Singh.
Yeah. And this season, he has been given time after time, he's been given that last over with not many runs to defend. And he manages to defend. And I loved that last over that he bowled in the previous game against CSK. Because if you notice, he
Yeah,
starts. I mean, he's got. Who's he bowling to? He's bowling to Jadeja, who at that time was striking big, and he's bowling to
yeah,
MS Dhoni. And what he does is, I was watching that over and watching the replays, and then I went back to the highlights to see what he was doing. If you see the first two, I think the first three balls, his finger is not on the seam; it's on the sides. And what he's doing is just floating the ball up and making it dip. So you can't really get under the
Uh,
ball. He's not bowling Yorkers. He's making the ball come at you at a particular trajectory, and then suddenly at the last minute it sort of drops. So the
yeah.
batsmen both times were trying to hit on the up, not succeeding if the ball was squirting off the edges and stuff. And then after that six was hit, he suddenly changes his tack and starts bowling Yorkers and pinpoint Yorkers.
Yeah.
And at that time, the hand is, I mean, the fingers are back on the seam, the wrist is cocked, and he's really looking for that Yorker leg delivery. And he's nailing it, yeah. Time after time after time, he's nailing it. It's it's
Think to come
amazing
back
because
from that, Prem.
yeah, I mean, we talk of all the greats, right? You expect something like this from, say, a Jasprit Bumrah. You expect it from a you would expect it from a Josh Hazelwood. You would expect it. Jofra Archer today bowled two brilliant overs in the beginning. I mean, in the power plays, 2 overs, 5 runs. It was a classic demonstration of real fast bowling. But
Yeah.
Yash Dayal is sort of on the sidelines, right? And he comes in, and if he does it once, it's remarkable. He's doing it time and time again. He's being trusted with
Repeatedly.
that last over, and he's delivering.
In fact,
So
Dinesh Karthik in the interview said after that over, he said that this guy comes into team meetings, he makes notes. He said he's so diligent and he's so focused on his game that he's been rebuilding ever since those five sixes and all the humiliation he went through about school
yeah,
kids teasing him, saying that he was hit for five sixes and all that. And Bishop has a very very special place and a lot of time for him. Said he met him before the match and asked him how he was doing, and he said everyone in the dressing room was, I mean, in the commentary box was backing him to come good again. And Dinesh Karthik was saying that this guy makes notes of everything that's discussed, keeps discussing how he can get better, and he's just never kind of relaxing, believing that he's got it under control. He's always curious and always wants to make sure that he's ready for the next game. And he said that it shows through. I mean, he gets hit on and off because hitting your Yorkers is not always the easiest thing in the world. So you are going to get hit in this format. I mean, I think Cummins, Hazelwood, all of them, Stark, all of them have woken up to that reality that they're all going to get hit. Even Bumrah has been taken for lots of sixes this season. I've never
yeah.
seen him hit for so many sixes this season. So, yeah, Yash Dayal really is a story. It's an unbelievable story of how you can come back after being in an abyss like that.
Yeah, I didn't see the Dinesh Karthik interview or comment or whatever, but some similar thought is why I paid attention to that last over. I mean, I was watching the game, I was looking at the last over, but after that, going back was because normally what he tries to do in the final over is he alternates between pace off and the Yorker. This
Yeah,
time he did it differently. And you can see what is going through his head, right? He knows that the batsman will be anticipating the Yorker because that's what he did in the last game. So this time
correct.
he does something different. He uses the dip rather than the Yorker to confuse the batsman. And once the batsman's figured out that, oh, okay, now he's using the floating delivery with the dip, he switches back to the Yorker. So it takes time for the batsman to adjust to these changes, and he's using it beautifully. It's amazing. You can actually, I mean, you can actually, now it makes sense what you said, that he's really making notes. He's thinking about what he's doing. He's trying to get better because you can see that.
Yeah, yeah. Also, Prem, a word for the lower order batting in RCB. You were saying that Jitesh and all need to get better, but I have an interesting stat here that the best contribution from the lower order has been this year for RCB, where they've got about a strike rate of 163 and about at least a minimum of 30-32 runs that's coming. That's their average, which has also been
Yeah,
phenomenal because those were the times when the top order failed and then RCB would just kind of, throw it all away. But this time they
yeah,
haven't done that. And despite the fact that Kohli's not changed his style, Salt and Bethel have made sure that their run rate this time for the first wicket has been 10 plus, which is phenomenal
Yeah,
given that, with Kohli also there and Kohli takes his time. Kohli doesn't really believe in that first five balls. You know, the one we discussed last time.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
not, I don't think he's a big fan of that first five balls. He still takes his time, sets in, and by the time Salt and now Bethel get in there, hitting those sixes, fours, and making sure that you're going at 10 and over. And that's really all added up. So, I mean, a word for Andy Flower also. He's been phenomenal. This was the guy who took England cricket to its zenith in Test cricket.
yeah.
Of course, he also was responsible for destroying it. I hope he doesn't do the same thing with RCB. But yeah, really, I mean, the support staff's been fantastic for RCB.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I said that about Padikkal, about Patidar, and about Jitesh Sharma. My point was not that they're not contributing. My point was that their contributions are somewhat inconsistent. They either contribute or they
Yeah,
fail altogether, and that's the one
yeah,
area that can put RCB at risk, because if, God forbid, the top two or top three fail, and these guys are not, they don't have the confidence of consistent performance behind them in a knockout game, that can cost you. But all told,
that's
I
true.
mean,
Yeah, I agree.
I can't figure out whether Romario Shepherd should play more deliveries or whether you should just give him those 15 balls to do whatever he wants with. On balance, I think 15 balls is, you just send him for those last 15 balls and say, boss, 50 chahiye isme.
He's brute force, he's like,
Yeah.
he reminds me of Pollard and Yusuf Pathan put together. Brute force, but he can take the deliveries from anywhere and pack them into the crowds.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal about him. I mean, the height of the ball just didn't matter if you saw. They tried everything at him: waist height, chest height, above the head. It just he has a shot for everything, and I think it's the power that he puts behind every shot, which is unbelievable, really unbelievable.